You know, it was just the other day I saw it, and I was scrolling through Facebook, and when I saw it, it struck me as being, well, so applicable to me that I felt, compelled to kind of share it with you. It was a meme. You know what those are, right? It's just like a little picture or just a little statement made on a post that has like a message to it, okay? And this message was pretty simple, but again, I felt convicted by it. It said, I'm pretty sure that I only need one more bad decision before I will have collected the entire set. And to be honest to you, when it comes to bad decisions, I'm pretty sure I won't ever own the entire set, but I surely have amassed a sizable collection of bad decisions over the course of my 3 years running around on this planet. I could easily be the poster child for bad decision making because I have made so very many. Some of them have been whoppers, I'll grant you that. And you know, as talented as I may happen to be at making bad decisions, I have to admit that I reckon I've had help over the years. Because I really don't think that I'm quite bright enough to come up with all of these dumb ideas and bad decisions all on my own. I'm pretty sure that I've had help. And I've been willing to accept that kind of help. As stubborn as I am, I've been willing to accept that kind of help in the whole bad decision-making process. And I bring this up to you because I also strongly suspect that I am not alone when it comes to receiving help in making those bad decisions. Because I'm human, just like you are, and all of us have all the weaknesses common to all of humankind. And we see that illustrated. It's a long-standing problem. Right from the get-go, we've had this issue. And so we visit today, on this first Sunday in Lent, a couple of passages that illustrate that susceptibility to bad suggestions and bad ideas that all humankind has, as well as the answer to that. Because in our Old Testament lesson today, we encounter this very, very familiar story, right? Eve and the serpent and Adam in the Garden of Eden. There they are. The Garden of Eden, that perfect place. And remember now that God, in God's infinite wisdom and mercy, had already given Adam and Eve everything that they needed to lead happy lives. Adam and Eve had everything they needed. Everything. But they discovered that they wanted more. They wanted more. So they fell prey to Satan's sly suggestions that they could actually get more than they needed. This tempter simply appealed to their ego and appealed to their greed. And both Adam and Eve stepped right there into the tempter's snare and they disobeyed God. He tempted them. You see, that's what he does. That's what Satan does to us. He tempts us. He appeals to our pride. He exploits our egos. He uses our fears. Over and over and over again, Satan sets out his traps for us. And over and over and over again, we step right into the tempter's snare. And at his suggestion, we turn away from God. We turn aside from what God tells us and what God empowers us to do and to be. And we sin. We sin. Like I said, it's ongoing. Satan's still at work doing that. His game plan hasn't changed, not one bit, since he first put it to work in the Garden of Eden. He doesn't have to change it. He doesn't have to come up with anything new. Because his time-tested methods still work just as well as ever they did. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Satan knows that. He does. So the tempter sets his snare for us time after time after time, knowing that his chances of success are really pretty good. So he does that to us. He appeals to our pride. Oh, he does. He tells us that we are so special that surely we can do whatever we want. It's really not all that bad. That whole business of loving our neighbors, especially the ones that we don't really agree with, doesn't really apply to us because, after all, we're in the right and they're in the wrong. It's really okay to ignore the suffering of others. It's just their bad luck. Or they had it coming. Because they're not like us. They make choices that we don't agree with. Let them suffer. They made their bed, let them lie in it. And we step right into all of that, and we sin. Satan still appeals to our greed because it works. He tells us that even though we've got all that we need, oh, we could be ever so much happier if we just had some more. So we place ourselves at risk financially in so many other ways in striving to get more toys, a bigger house so that we can impress our friends and so on. And we pile up more stress on our lives, which adds to still more problems. Satan continues his appeals to our greed by telling us that if others somehow receive more, well, that means there's less left for us. And surely we don't want to have less, because we'd rather have more. So rather than freely sharing what we have, we turn away from God to seek our own satisfaction. And we sin. And as bad as all of this sounds, there's still more bad news because Satan isn't done yet. He's still active in this world in which we live, and he's still actively seeking to tempt you, each and every one of you, away from God by doing whatever works. And he knows what works on you, so he keeps at it. He's going to appeal to your greed. He's going to appeal to your pride. He is going to appeal to your fear. And right now, this very instant, even as I speak to you, Satan may very well be whispering in your ear that this doesn't really apply to you. You're doing okay. Your stuff isn't that bad. Just keep on doing what you're doing because others are doing stuff worse than you are. But it's not okay. You need to be aware of that truth. You also need to be reminded of so that you can be aware of what you can do to avoid the tempter's snares. Remember now, for the past couple of weeks I've been mentioning and talking about how we need to pay attention to Jesus because he's our best information on what God would have us to do, right? How God wants us to behave. When the tempter assaulted Jesus, who, although fully divine, was also fully human and therefore felt all of the things that we feel, hunger, fear, heat, cold, all of those things, Jesus felt those things. When Satan appealed to Jesus' human weaknesses, Jesus didn't rely on his own strength. Jesus did what we need to do. When Satan comes to us and he tempts us, tells us we should be able to do these bad things, only they're not that bad because we're special and we can get away with that. When Satan comes up and pulls that on you, do what Jesus did. Because rather than giving in to the tempter's suggestions and rather than trying to rely on his own intellect or his own human strength, Jesus repeatedly and Jesus successfully evaded the tempter's snares by turning to God. Every single time. In every instance, he relied on God and what God tells us to do. And Satan was defeated. Remember that. Because just as the tempter's snares are still out there, they're still willing to work on you, remember the method to escape those snares is still available to you as well. God's still here. God's advice to us is still valid. It still helps us to avoid sinning. When your pride or your greeds or your fears put you at risk of falling into the tempter's snares, turn to God. Turn to God. Read his word. Spend time in prayer. Wherever you are, however you are. It doesn't have to be fancy, just turn to God. Pray about what's on your heart and on your mind. God, what should I do? Then listen to what he tells you. Because he's not going to tell you to hurt your neighbors. He's going to tell you what he wants you to do. So turn. Turn to God so that you can avoid the tempter's snares, so that you can live the life that God wants you to live.